right, welcome to another episode of Bill on Bikes. We're inside or outside of my facility, the motorcycle garage in Phoenix, and it's cold. When you can see your breath, it's cold. I got 2 hoodies on, 2 shirts, the hat, and I don't like it. Anyway, today we're going to continue our project on the 1995 Harley-Davidson Road King. We're going to focus on those front forks. As you remember, when I was bringing the bike in, I noticed something was wrong. It didn't feel right. We'll bring it inside. I have the front end off, and we'll take a look at it. We'll see what's going on. We have a spring kit coming for it. Hopefully UPS shows up today with it. Probably by late tonight or sometime tomorrow, we should be able to have this bike wrapped up. So join us for another episode of Bill on Bikes. Let's go to work. All right, as you can see, I have the left side front fork assembly here on the bench. There's definitely something wrong with this, and let's show you. First of all, well, I don't even have to put a pan out, which I would have a pan here, but there's no oil. This is how it was. I didn't pre-drain this. There was no oil in the front suspension. Also, look at the play we have here. There's no preload on the spring, so that's a problem. And this is a safety issue, so let's touch upon safety just for a couple minutes. As some of you might know, I have another company called American Motorcycle Forensics. You can go to americanmotorcycleforensics.com. Because of all my years of experience, my dealing with Harley, owning a dealership, having a private shop now, it has afforded me the right to work with attorneys and judges around the country. I oftentimes am lucky enough, every year I usually am working with some Harley engineers. I've been with Triumph, I've been with multiple manufacturers, I've been with fire engineers. I've worked with some of the top tire forensics experts in the country. I see a lot of injury. I have seen death. I have seen people that are maimed for life, passengers maimed for life. And this is the type of issue that can kill somebody. So you have to have confidence in the shop that you go to that they're going to do the work correctly. Yes, in my shop I'm $98 an hour. If we're over on the dyno, it's $150 an hour. But you get what you pay for. I may take a little longer on a project than some guy down the road. They may be getting $120. There's an actual shop, it's a dealership, 2 dealerships that are pretty close to me, not the one right down the road, but the ones that are close, they're $165 an hour, and you basically have kids out MMI working on your bike. You have to have confidence in the people that are fixing your motorcycle. This could kill you. I had a case in Florida to do with the front suspension, and that particular gentleman went over the bars and he ended up with 38 stitches in his head. He doesn't really have a good memory anymore. That was one of the actual first cases I ever had, probably 11 years ago. I've had accident reconstruction at Northwestern. So I see a lot of things that the general public don't see, that the average technician doesn't see. I go through thousands and thousands of pages a year of information on product liability cases, documents from the motor company, from different motorcycle companies. I can't get specific about it because I have non-disclosure agreements that I sign, so I can't really even talk about any of the cases. But you know, I have probably 6 or 7 active cases, you know, as of today. So I'm constantly busy. If I'm not here in the shop, I'm usually on the road, either with Liam's hockey or, you know, I'm working on a case somewhere. Anyway, you just have to have confidence in the people that are working on your bike and make sure you know them, vet them, find out their experience. You know, if it's some guy, Joe Blow, in his garage at home, Does he really know what he's doing, or did he just graduate MMI and decide to work out of his garage? I don't really think I want to take my bike to that guy. I have a bunch of them around here. I've had so many shops since I opened this back in 2012 that have just gone out of business. I can probably think of 7 or 8 of them off the top of my head. They're just gone. There's some that are consistently still here, and there's a few that have been here longer than me. I didn't move out here till 2007. When Harley-Davidson offered me a chance to work at the desert testing facility in Mesa at the GM plant. That's how I even ended up out here in Phoenix, because when we sold the business, I had I think it was a 2-year no-compete clause 100 miles from the geographical center of the shop. So I couldn't even talk about a bike because they told me they would sue me. So that's how I ended up out here in Phoenix. I love it. Scottsdale, Arizona, if any of you live in, especially my buddies that live back east, this is a phenomenal place to live. A little cold right now. Bill's freezing. You guys, I'm sure, are laughing at me, but I'm cold. Anyway, so let's get back to this. Let's pop this apart and find out what's going on. So I'm going to get my 6mm Allen, get my air going here. I like to try to pop these off. Hopefully it hasn't been over torqued here on the bottom screw, and it will pop right off, but let's find out. Sometimes I end up having to drill these. Hopefully this won't be one of them. And where I don't really have pressure here, that's gonna, it came right out. That's good. And you can see that it's pretty dirty under here. And we got the screw out. And now we have the Jim specialty tool for the fork cap. Pop this off. Normally this would be under spring pressure, but I don't have to worry about that today. Cap. Now, also, this would have been an air and spring front end, so it was kind of archaic, quite honestly, but it was Harley's attempt at making a better suspension. We're going to eliminate that, and I'm going to put in like the gold valve system, a nice spring race kit. So we're going to eliminate the air. If we're doing that, we have to change these out. These aren't threaded all the way in. It's a different type of fork cap that goes on this, where the air, so you can allow the air to go in. We want the one that's threaded all the way to the top, and then we'll run the proper cap for that. So we're going to eliminate the air altogether, which will be a much better suspension for him. Let's pop out the snap clip here. All right, take the clip out. Pop the spring. There's a little residual in there. Also, this isn't really a big deal, but most suspension kits, they want the progressive wound spring down, but that's not always a necessity. And this is literally either looks like it's broken or it's been ground. It's a very sharp edge. So let's see what's going on here. Pop that apart. That's for the dampener. Try to get the dampening rod out, and there's that. Okay, so let's go over what was wrong with this. 1, there's no oil. 2, this spring is, literally, that was cut for some reason, because I can see the marks in this. So somebody cut this to drop the front end, I assume, because they put very short shocks in the rear. They probably wanted a 2-inch drop, but they didn't know enough that you actually have to put spacers in here to preload this spring when it's in the tube. They didn't do that. It's very dangerous. So we're going to get this fixed up. I'm waiting for the suspension kit to come from UPS. Hopefully my buddy Frank will be here soon, and I will show you what it takes to put this back together. We're going to replace all the bushings. We're going to replace the seals, the spacers. Yeah, they're pretty worn. You can see the finish on the bushing is all worn here. So we're going to change all that out. We'll get this cleaned up, and I'll show you the assembly and what it takes to set this up. But this was a dangerous situation, and I'm glad the customer brought this in. And quite honestly, I don't think he knew he had a problem. So this is why you come to the motorcycle garage. This is why you come to someone like me that's been doing this for literally, this is what, my 45th year or so. I started in the business when I was 13. Was the lead tech starting in 1980, and it's all I've done ever since, 6 days a week. I still love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. I would just go do something. I'd actually go home and just retire, but I still love the in and outs of the motorcycle industry. I love working in my own shop. I don't have to answer to anybody, and it's a nice feeling. So stick around and I'll show you how to put this together. All right, UPS showed up with the parts. As you can see, we have our Racetech suspension system, our emulators. These are basically what's known as gold valves. They control the dampening, the flow of oil in the fork. This has the blue springs. These are rated somewhere around 40 pounds. My customer in this case weighs 270 pounds, so they recommend using the 3 bleed hole collar and the yellow springs, and I believe the yellow springs are rated somewhere around 64 pounds. So we're going to change these out, adjust them so they're preloaded the 2.5 turns, and we're also going to go with the 3-hole plate inside the emulator. And then we'll set our preload and we'll get these together, and I'll have a customer that has a really nice working front suspension that is tuned to him. And what is cool with this with Racetech is you give them all the specs and they give you a build sheet with all the settings, what you're supposed to use. So it's absolutely tuned just for your customer, and I really like using these. I've used these for a long time. Harley has something similar in the newer bikes. They ran an emulator, but they're not as sophisticated as these, and actually I have to go in the dampening tube, and we're going to add a few more holes here because that helps the flow of oil. It kind of eliminates this flow and it moves the flow of the oil up to the emulator. So this is what's doing the work, not these holes any longer. So we're going to be drilling some holes here. All right, I'm going to get that done, and then we'll get the camera going again once the assembly's done, and we'll do the other side, and we'll go from there. And just a quick review when assembling front forks, setting up the front suspension. We have our kit in, we have the emulators, we've changed to the 3-hole plate, we changed to the heavier spring, set the adjustment at 2.5 turns, so that's all in already. We also drilled out the dampening tube so more oil flows through it, and the emulator's actually doing the work, so that's the idea of that. Also, whenever I assemble a front end, we use Harley-Davidson seal grease, which is this. Inside the seal, it helps the seal break in much better, and actually it helps eliminate fork seals leaking prematurely. So I always do that. Also, new bushings are on the tube, and you want to position these 180 degrees from each other, these lines. So, and you want to have them going to the side of the lower slider. So when they're inside, they'll be like this. So this one's facing up, the other one's 180 degrees facing down. You don't want them on the thrust face of the tube. You'll wear a line inside the slider and wear the slider out. So that's just another thing that if you know what you're doing and you've done thousands of these, you know what to look for. So I'm going to assemble these up. I have my preload spaces already pre-cut, and we're going to do our fork level at 168 millimeters from the top. So I'll get all that done, get it assembled. I'll go on and do the right side, and I got to put the handlebar bushings in. The S&S head pipe is here. We're going to get that done. Put the R&S, we went with an S&S air cleaner. We're going to put that assembly on, and we should be able to get this thing wrapped up. I'm thinking it won't be done much before tomorrow. I got a couple other things to do today. I do have to put some inventory away. I have to make some phone calls. Running your own business is a lot of work, but I appreciate all the business. Make sure you like us on YouTube. Go to Facebook. Go to our webpage, motorcyclegarage.net. And I want you to like us, if you could, on Bill on Bikes, if you like the content we're putting out. And I'll try to keep consistent videos going. You know, I may only be able to get 2 or 3 out a month. Maybe sometimes it'll be less. I'd like to be consistent. I wish I could do it every week, but I'm just so busy. It's not really that easy. But If you keep hitting the like button and subscribing, we'll keep putting out the content.